Okay, students, I hope I am audible to everyone. We start with a new chapter today in stats. This is formally unit 3 of your course. Okay, and we now study random variables and probability distributions. So after having done the basic concepts of probability, the agenda now is to start studying probability distributions, which are of two types, discrete and continuous. So in this chapter, we'll primarily focus on discrete distributions, and in the next chapter, we will focus on continuous distributions. Okay, so let's start. Let's start by actually studying what is meant by a random variable. Okay, so all of you can see the definition on your screens. For a given sample space delta of some experiment, a random variable is any rule that associates a number with each outcome in delta. Thus, a random variable is a function with domain as the sample space and the range as the set of all real numbers. So random variable is a function which maps the outcomes in delta to set of all real numbers. So coming to the whiteboard, I can explain you this in the functional form. So my domain is the set of all outcomes in delta. Domain is the set of all outcomes in delta, where delta is the sample space. Set of all outcomes in delta, and my code, my range is the set of all real numbers. Range is the set of all real numbers. So random variable is a function. Random variable is a function which maps the outcomes in delta to the set of all real numbers. Okay, so let's come back to the lecture note. Let's look at the example. For example, when a student calls a university help desk for technical support, then he or she will either immediately be able to speak to someone, which is a success, or his call will be placed on hold, which is a failure. Okay. Now, in this particular case, you can define the random variable x as follows. Okay. X will take the value 1 if you are able to speak to the university helpline. If you're able to speak with someone on the university helpline, then that particular case is a success. So X will take the value 1 and X will take the value 0 if your call is placed on hold. So in this example, you can see what are random variables doing. Random variables are actually converting the events in the sample space to numbers. What are the events? There are two events, success and failure. Success means your call is taken. Failure means your call is put on hold. So there are two possible events in the sample space delta, success and failure. And what is the random variable doing? Here my random variable is X. Random variable is converting the events to numbers. Okay. So X of S is equal to 1 and X of F is equal to 0. I can do a similar example. Suppose a very simple example we can take. We need to see whether a randomly chosen bulb is defective or not defective. So if it's defective, suppose it's defective, then the random variable x will take the value 1. If it's not defective, random variable x will take the value 0. So that means random variable is basically converting my events in sample space to numbers. Okay. So let's come back to the lecture note. So the random variable example which we have done till now, this is called a Bernoulli random variable. The random variable example done till now is a Bernoulli random variable. So any random variable whose possible values are 0 and 1 is called a Bernoulli random variable. So basically, Bernoulli random variable is that random variable which will either take the value 0 or it will take the value 1. Okay, so look at the example we have taken to further explain it. Consider an experiment in which the 9-volt batteries are tested until one with an acceptable voltage is obtained. Okay, if you obtain a battery with an acceptable voltage, that is a success. Otherwise, it's a failure. Then what is my sample space? Either my first battery I obtain will be of acceptable voltage, which means a success. Another case would be the first battery I choose, it's not of the acceptable voltage, so failure, but the second battery is a success. Another event would be the first 2 batteries are not of acceptable voltage, that means failure, but the third battery is a success, and so on. So what is my random variable? My random variable is number of batteries tested before the experiment terminates. Now, when will the experiment terminate? The experiment will terminate the moment you obtain the battery with an acceptable voltage. That means the moment you get a success, okay, your experiment will terminate. So what all values can X take? You can see on the screen. X of S. X of S means you chose the first battery. Luckily, it's of the acceptable voltage for you. So X of S is 1. X of Fs means you need to test 2 batteries. The first battery you tested was not of acceptable voltage, but the second battery you tested was of acceptable voltage. So 2. Similarly, X of Ffs will be 3, and so on. Okay. So any positive integer is a positive value of X, so set of possible values of X is infinite. In this case, X can have infinite values because I can keep on testing batteries as and when they are produced to see when I obtain the battery with an acceptable voltage. So I hope all students have understood till now the lecture. We have started with random variables. Random variable is a function which maps outcomes in the sample space to set of all real numbers. The first type of random variable we have studied till now is the Bernoulli random variable. Bernoulli random variable is that random variable which only takes 2 possible values, 0 and 1. The example we had taken, you can see on your screen, when a student calls a university helpline for technical support, either his call will be taken, which is a success, or his call will be put on hold, which is a failure. So in this particular case, my random variable X takes 2 values. One is a success. In that particular case, the value is 1. Another is a failure. In that particular case, value is 0. Okay. And then we have taken another example. We are continuously testing batteries until we obtain a battery with an acceptable voltage. So again, I can either get success in the first go, or I can get failure and then success, or failure, failure, success, or failure, 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 success, and so on. So my random variable will take values 1, 2, 3, 4. I have gone till 7, but then we are not mentioned how many batteries we are testing, so it can go up to infinity. Okay. So I hope till here there is no doubt to anyone. In case any student has any doubt, please unmute your mic and speak up. In case any student faces any doubt till here, please unmute your mic and speak up. Okay, then I can move forward. Now there are two types of random variables particularly of interest to us. One is called the discrete random variable. Another is called the continuous random variable. When is a random variable said to be discrete? So discrete random variable is a random variable whose possible values either constitute a finite set or else can be listed in an infinite sequence in which there is first element, second element, and so on. So discrete random variables are those random variables which you can count on fingers. They can be either finite or infinite. They can be either integers or non-integers. The only thing is you can count them. They can be listed in a sequence. Okay. Continuous random variables. When is a random variable said to be continuous? It is said to be continuous if the set of possible values consists either of all numbers in a single interval on the number line or all numbers in a disjoint union of such intervals. And second thing, no possible value of the variable has positive probability for any possible value of C. Okay, so to understand this, let's come to the whiteboard. So we talk about discrete random variables versus continuous random variables. Okay, so examples of discrete random variables are what? So what are discrete random variables first of all? Which can be listed either in finite or infinite sequence, which can be listed either in finite or infinite sequence and are countable. Continuous random variables are those random variables whose value is measured on the real line, whose value is measured as an interval on the real line, whose value is measured as an interval on the real line, okay, or disjoint intervals on the real line. So we can take an example. Example would be, suppose my random variable x takes values 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. Another example would be my random variable takes values 3.4, 4.7, 5.1, 6.3, 7.2, and so on. Suppose my random variable x takes these values. Now you can see these are not integers. They are decimal values, but still it's a discrete random variable because I can count them. I can count them on my fingers, 3.4, 4.7, 5.1, 6.3, 7.2, and so on. So please don't have this in your mind that discrete random variables only have to be integers. They can be fractions also. And they can be either finite or infinite. I can stretch it on. Continuous random variable, I can say, look at the real line I am drawing. The real line goes from minus infinity to plus infinity. Now suppose I take an interval from 0 to 1. Now you can see I can break down 0 to 1 into infinite gradations. We have infinite values between 0 and 1. Infinite values between 0 and 1. We can have 0.00001, we can have 0.02, we can have 0.2357, anything. I can break my interval 0 to 1 into infinite values. Or I can write it like this also, 0 to 1. I can write it like this also, x is 0 to 1 union 2 to 3. Union of disjoint intervals. You can see 0 to 1 and 2 to 3 are disjoint. They have nothing in common. So continuous random variables are those variables whose value is measured on an interval in an interval on the real line or disjoint set of intervals. Disjoint set of intervals. So example 0 to 1 union 2 to 3. That is also a disjoint interval. And x is a continuous random variable. So all continuous random variables are measured as intervals on the real line, whereas discrete random variables are listed in a finite or infinite sequence and they are countable. Continuous random variables you cannot count. I cannot count how many values are there between 0 and 1. I can have infinite values, but discrete random variables you can count them. So I hope this basic difference between the two types of variables is clear to everyone. Any doubts, please speak up. And then let's just move forward. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention in continuous random variables. Let's come back to the whiteboard. Suppose, for example, suppose x takes a value between 0 to 1. Okay, suppose x takes the value between 0 to 1. Now, what is the probability of x taking the value 0.2341? X takes values between 0 to 1. What is the probability of x taking a particular value 0.2341? It's exactly equal to 0. That means if I choose any c between 0 and 1, if I choose any c in the interval 0 to 1, probability of x taking that value c is practically 0. Because between 0 to 1 we have infinite values. Probability of x taking one particular value in the interval 0 to 1 is 0. So I hope that is also understood to everyone. Okay, moving forward. So we have discussed discrete random variables. We have discussed continuous random variables. Okay, and you can see the point B, no possible value of the variable has positive probability. That means probability of x taking one particular value c is 0. Now let us look at this example. Suppose we selected married couples at random and do a blood test on each person until we find a husband and wife who have the same RH factor. Let X denote the number of blood tests to be performed. Okay, so can someone tell me what are the possible values of X here? What can be the possible values of X? X denotes the number of blood tests to be performed until you get a couple, husband and wife, with the same RH factor in their blood. Anyone has any clue? Yes? So when we are doing a blood test in this case, X denotes the number of blood tests to be performed. My possible values will be 2, 4, 6, 8 and so on. Either I'll have to do 2 blood tests, one for the husband, one for the wife, or I'll have to do 4 blood tests. We can't have odd values here. Since we are testing the couples here, we can't have odd values. We can't have 3 blood tests, 5 blood tests, 1 blood test, 7 blood tests. We will only have even values. Because when we are doing the blood test here of the couple, Okay, in that particular case, obviously I'll have to do the blood test of both husband and wife, then the next husband and wife, and so on. So my possible values are 2, 4, 6, and 8, and I can keep on continuing it to infinite. So X here is a discrete random variable. Okay, now let's go on to the next particular topic. From here, actually, the main lecture starts, and from here you start getting questions. Probability distribution for discrete random variables. Now the probability, let's look at the definition. The probability distribution, also called the probability mass function of a discrete random variable, is defined for every number x by probability of small x is nothing but probability that capital X takes the value small x. Now please understand, all students, capital X denotes random variable. Small x denotes the values taken by it. I again repeat, capital X denotes the random variable. Small x denotes the values taken by that random variable. So you can see the probability distribution on your screen. Capital X takes the value small x1, small x2, dot 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 small xn. What is the probability that capital X will take the value small x1? P of x1. What is the probability that capital X will take the value small x2? P of x2. Similarly, what is the probability that capital X will take the value small xn? It is P of xn. Basically, when we are doing probability distribution for discrete random variables, my probability mass function PMF is given by P of small x, which is nothing but P of capital X taking the value exactly equal to small x. Now, when we add up all these probabilities, what are they summing up to? 1. So P of x1 plus P of x2 plus dot 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 P of xn is exactly equal to 1. Sum of all probabilities has to be equal to 1. Why should they be equal to 1? Because the events are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Mutually exclusive means x1, x2, and xn, these events have nothing in common. These values have nothing in common. And exhaustive means they cover up the whole sample space. I assume all of you know the meaning of mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Two events are said to be mutually exclusive if they have nothing in common, no intersection. And two events are said to be mutually exhaustive if they cover up the whole sample space. So since the events are mutually exclusive and exhaustive, the sum of the probabilities will exactly be equal to 1. Okay. So one question, let's do one numerical on the screen. Let's solve this question on the screen. Okay. Practice question. Let X denote the number of computers. Let X denote the number of computers in use at a particular time of the day. X denote the number of computers in use at a particular time of the day. That is, my X takes the values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's given to us in the question, and P of X is given to us as 0.05, 0.10, 0.15, 0.25, 0.20, 0.15, and 0.10. So X denotes the number of computers in use at a particular time of the day. How will you interpret? Suppose I ask you to interpret this. How will you interpret it? Probability that 3 computers are in use on one particular day is 0.25. Similarly, how will I interpret this? Probability that 6 computers are in use at any one particular time of the day is 0.1. Okay, so you should also know how to interpret it. So they ask us to find the following. Probability of X less than equal to 2. Probability of X greater than equal to 3. Probability of X lying between 2 and 5. Okay, this is what they ask. Okay, so how will you solve the first one? Probability that X takes the value less than equal to 2 means P of 0 plus P of 1 plus P of 2, which is 0.05 plus 0.1 plus 0.15, turns out to be how much? 0.3. Probability that X takes the value greater than equal to 3, P of 3 plus P of 4 plus P of 5 plus P of 6, which will be equal to this much, and if I add them all up, I get 0.7. And what's the probability of X exactly lying between 2 and 5, excluding 2 and 5? Now, if I exclude 2 and 5, I get P of 3 plus P of 4, which is 0.25 plus 0.2, which is 0.45. I hope that is clear. We can move forward. Okay. I hope I can clear this off. Let's do another practice question. Six lots of components are ready to be shipped by a certain supplier. 6 lots of components are ready to be shipped by a certain supplier. The number of defective components in each lot is as follows. Number of defective components in each lot is as follows. Lot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 lots, and the number of defectives are given to us as follows: 0, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0. Okay. Question asks you find the probability distribution. Find the probability distribution of the number of defectives in a selected lot. Find the probability distribution of the number of defectives in a selected lot. So there are 6 lot of components ready to be shipped by a certain supplier, and they have given us that lot 1 contains 0 defectives, lot 2 contains 2 defectives, lot 3 contains 0 defectives, and so on. So first of all, what will my random variable be? Let X denote the number of defectives in a selected lot. Now, what are the values taken by X? This is my random variable, number of defectives. This is my random variable. It's taking what all values? It takes the value 0, it takes the value 1, and it takes the value 2. What are the probabilities? What are the total number of lots? 6. And how many times 0 is taken? 1, 2, and 3. So 3 by 6, which is half. Okay, then how much, when does the X take the value 1? Only once, so 1 by 6. And when does X take the value 2? 2 times. So it is 2 by 6. So if I add them, you can see 3 by 6 plus 1 by 6 plus 2 by 6 is exactly equal to 1. So this is my answer. This is my probability distribution, X and Px. Any student have any doubt with the questions done till now? We can do another example. Practice question 3. I hope I can erase this off. So practice question 3. Consider whether the next person buying a computer at a certain store buys a laptop or desktop model. Let X take the value 1 if the customer purchases a desktop computer and 0 if the customer purchases a laptop computer. Okay, it's given to us if 20% of all purchasers, during that week select a desktop, find the probability mass function of X. Okay, so what is X? What does X denote? X denotes what the person buys, what type of computer the person buys at a certain store. So X takes the value 1 if the consumer purchases a desktop model and 0 if the customer purchases a laptop computer. So how will my probability mass function look like? My probability mass function, it will take the value 0.2 if the customers purchase a desktop. Desktop means X takes the value 1. It takes the value 0.8 if the customers purchase a laptop. That means X takes the value 0. And it will take the value 0 if you neither buy a laptop nor a computer. So this is my probability mass function. You can clearly see, this is here, you can clearly see that X is a Bernoulli random variable. It's taking only 2 values. Remember, Bernoulli random variables are those random variables which takes only 2 values, 0 and 1. In this question, you can see that X is a Bernoulli random variable. If it takes the value 1, it means you are buying a desktop. What's the probability of buying a desktop? 20%, which means 0.2. If it takes the value 0, you are buying a laptop. What's the probability of buying a laptop? 20% is the probability of buying desktop. So 80% is the probability of buying a laptop. And if you're neither buying a laptop nor a desktop, it means the probability is 0. And now if I plot it, how is it going to look like? I can also plot this one. So you can see the graph on the screen. Origin, this is X, this is P of X. Okay. X also takes value 0 and 1, and P of X also lies between 0 and 1. When X is 1, P is 0.2. 0.2 will be somewhere here. When X is 1, P is 0.2. When X is 0, P is 0.8. So 0.8 will be somewhere here. So when X is 0, P is 0.8, and otherwise my P is 0. So this is my probability mass function which I have plotted. When X takes the value 1, P of X takes the value 0.8, 0.2, and when X takes the value 0, P of X takes the value 0.8, and otherwise it is 0. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone. Any doubts, please ask. So I can generalize it. So you can see the note. Generally, the probability mass function of any Bernoulli random variable, the probability mass function of any Bernoulli random variable can be expressed as probability as a function of X, and the parameter is alpha. It will be 1 minus alpha if X takes the value 0, alpha if X takes the value 1, and 0 if otherwise. So this is my probability mass function for Bernoulli random variable. And here the parameter is alpha. Alpha is the parameter, remember. And X is the random variable. So it will take the value 1 minus alpha if X takes the value 0, alpha if X takes the value 1, and 0 if otherwise.